Okay, good morning. Sorry we're starting a little late. As usual, rain is the excuse for lateness, but anyway, good morning to everybody. My name is Kate Josephs. I'm the Executive Director here at the Performance Improvement Council. Welcome to all of you here in the room at GSA, and also to the literally hundreds of you on the phone. At the last count, we had 180 dialing in virtually and watching the video live stream of this event, so we're thrilled that you're here. I'm absolutely thrilled to be hosting this event today. It's the first PIC Summit of 2015, Give Voice to Data, the Power of Story. Here at the PIC, we are a small but mighty team, I like to say, and our mission is to expand and advance the practice of performance management and improvement in federal government. We believe in that mission because we care about delivering better outcomes for citizens, and we believe the practices of performance management improvement are key to that. So whether you are a self-confessed performance geek or not everyone is, I'm pretty sure that everybody here today comes to work in the morning because they believe in delivering better outcomes. But when we think about good government and good management in government, core to that is data. Good data, and data is the heart of what we think about when it's whether it's thinking about getting better quality data, whether it's thinking about using evidence to drive policy and implementation, or whether it's thinking about really developing meaningful performance metrics, for example. The idea that storytelling might be a performance improvement practice, it's kind of like out there, right? It's a bit unusual, and it's definitely not something that I think I've heard a lot here or over in the UK. But what if it is the missing piece of the puzzle? What if storytelling could be the kind of secret sauce that helps us communicate the data that's at the heart of what we do? So we know very little about the human brain. In fact, we know less about the human brain than we know about outer space, probably thanks in large part to the many people from NASA here and on the line who do amazing stuff in space. I'm obviously not a space person, I'm not very scientific. But we know a few things about the human brain, and here are two things we know. One, human beings do not pay attention to boring things. Two, the human brain is riveted by information with a high emotional content. So let's just have a quick show of hands. And if you're on the phone, you can do this virtually and imagine you're here. How many of you in your careers have prepared a presentation, whether it's for a team or for colleagues or for a boss or for stakeholders, which is literally a stack of charts and graphs and text? Be honest. Quite a lot of hands going up there. How many of you have been on the receiving end of those kinds of presentations? Lots of hands going up. How many of you really remember what you were told in those presentations? Lisa. Thanks for playing along with me. That's great. So today is about two things, right? It's about making a case that maybe there's value in paying a little more attention to the potential power of story and storytelling in the work we do around performance and performance information and performance management. And secondly, it's about demonstrating that you, yes, you can do it too. So the main event today is 3 incredible TED Talks from public servants just like you. And while you listen to these talks, I want you to really reflect on the fact that these guys, Sophia, Judy, Miguel, are subject matter experts. They are not communications professionals. They are not seasoned public speakers. They have put a huge amount of commitment and time into creating talks that showcase the inspiring and very, very data-rich work that they do in a way which both reflects the complexity of the data that they deal with every day and also is clear and relatable to a non-expert audience, i.e. you. We'll also today get a chance to learn about and hear from them about the tools and techniques that these guys used. And in the middle of all of that, myself, Lisa Danzig from OMB, and Professor Don Kettle are going to have a little chat about the ways that we've seen storytelling concepts used in the context of performance management improvement in our careers thus far. This summit is being recorded. It is being captured. We have Cassie over there doing graphic recording. We have people doing graphic tweeting. For anyone who's on Twitter, please go ahead and tweet today's event at #PicSummit. And we are also videoing the event, and we'll be packaging these talks into video nuggets that you can download and use in future. So hopefully that will be helpful. Final thing before we kick off, I just want to say a huge thanks to not just our participants who you'll see up on stage, or on, not stage, on bit of carpet today, but also to the many people behind the scenes who've pulled off today's event on the team. They're all listed in your programmes. In particular, I need to say a huge thank you to Shelley Canwright, who should stand up and deserves a very large round of applause when you hear what she's done. Shelley has been with us at the PIC on rotation for the last 6 months from NASA. She is also this year's National Space Educator of the Year, which also deserves a round of applause because what a cool thing to be, National Space Educator of the Year. And without Shelley, genuinely, today would be a tale that never got told. So thank you, Shelley. I hope you enjoyed today. I hope those human brains inside those heads of yours are riveted. And let's start with a little bit of food for thought.
Stories are a powerful container of information. In fact, cultures, beliefs, lore has been passed down from generation to generation across illiterate generations of humankind. That's how powerful it is. Stories could be repeated, they could be told, they could be passed on even to children and be remembered. What is it about a story? Something happens to a story. Our heart races, we lean forward, we're pulsing, we can't wait, we're anticipating, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? We're excited. We actually are really engaged, and it actually means something to us to share a story with someone. What happens suddenly? We insert a slide in the mix, and our communication flatlines. Suddenly it's not interesting, there's no pulse. The slide, something about it becoming a presentation makes our stories sterile. In fact, we're not even using stories. To use a story means you need to be human, and you need to put a human sense and your humanity out on the line for people to judge and people to maybe not even take care of the story that you're telling them, and that's kind of scary. And there's two basic types of writing. On one extreme is a report. A report is exhaustive. It's got facts, it's got figures, it's got tables and details, and it's just exhaustive. So if you work for a large consultancy, let's say, and a client pays you $2 million to do a bunch of research, you're going to build a report for them, for goodness sake, and it better look like a dense report, and it better have tons of information because they paid you $2 million. And you might even be building that in PowerPoint or some other slide application, and that's fine, but you're building a report. And something happens, we're in report building mode, and then we forget that to convey our research, so we captured our research, but to convey and communicate our research, we need a different creative process to follow than report making and exhaustive research. So what we need to do is incorporate more stories. So on the other pole, the other extreme of writing is a story. It's basically dramatic writing. Cinema, literature follows that form. Those are the two extremes. And what we need to do is presentations fall right in the middle. A presentation has explanatory structure. It's got some facts and figures and information, but it also needs to be married with story, like a cake, little layers of a cake. You need to build in some report-like information and also story structure and story information to keep it interesting. Now, this is a very powerful communication medium. Stories are very sacred in a way, and you can't abuse them either. So what you need to do is fold stories in. Let your humanity kind of hang out there. Tell stories in a compelling way, and you'll actually change people's beliefs. You'll change their ideas. You'll sway them towards you, just like a great story does. They're engaged. They're wanting to hear from you. There's a big structural difference between a report and a story. So if you look at them in parallel, you'll see that reports have a framework to them and stories have a framework to them. A report framework has topical information, has data, has facts, whereas a story framework, it has narrative, meaning, story, metaphor. So what you need to do once you've built your presentation is you need to identify places in your presentation where you can turn what would be considered fact or reporting into a story. You can take data, and instead of just conveying the data, you can find the meaning and the narrative in the data and tell the story behind the data. So you need to do that throughout the presentation so that it creates a pattern and a rhythm. In Hollywood, they'll only be on a scene for 3 minutes. There will never be a movie scene that lasts longer than 3 minutes. And that's very important to remember. So you need to mix up a little story with a little information and move it up, change it up, keep it interesting and constantly be changing it up. Mix a little bit of report with a little bit of story and change all of your presentations into wonderful explanations of your idea. Because if you do that, your idea will spread. They'll be chatting about your presentation at the water cooler. They'll be talking about your idea in the next meeting. They'll be saying, did you hear what he said? It was unbelievable. And that's what you want. That's how you'll get recognized. It's how your organization will stand out from the competitors. And it's a very powerful tool that has worked for thousands of years. And I know you can use it to work for you.